I'm Oliver North, and like you, I'm listening on America Armed and Free with Charles Heller. Civilian disarmament is an essential precedent for every dictator who engages in mass murder.
Ye may ride a goodly steed, ye may know another master, ye forward come with speed, but ye learn to back much faster. If we the work must do, then the sooner 'tis begun. If flint and trigger do the hull, the quicker 'twill be done. For the rifle, in our hands will prove no trifle. For the rifle, in our hands will prove no trifle.
Isn't it weird to hear somebody like Pete Seeger singing about rifles? Back to the phones. I stirred up a hornet's nest. I just want to say one other quick point, and that is there are many rifles. A lot of people have semi-automatics. I'm a particular fan of the Glock, although it doesn't mean it's the world's best gun, but it's a decent one. There is a company called KelTec, which makes some rifles. They're in pistol calibers. And the advantage of a rifle in a pistol caliber is it doesn't have as much recoil because it's not as fast a cartridge usually, and it's a utility thing. It's something it's longer than a pistol, it's bigger than a pistol, but smaller than a full rifle, more like a carbine. Carbine is a shorter length rifle, but a carbine can be very handy because it can give you more accuracy, far more accuracy than a pistol. Also, the bullet is only accelerating when it's in the barrel. So in most cases, the longer the barrel, the more the bullet accelerates. The more the bullet accelerates, the more energy it has when it hits its target, and the more likely it is to stop an assailant. So there's a company called KelTec that makes rifles that are set up to be used so that you can use the magazine from the Glock pistol or from the Smith & Wesson pistol, and there's a couple other ones they make. They might make one in the same magazine well as a Sig Sauer. They're called the Sub 2000 series, and they're excellent little rifles. They're not expensive. You can find them around. Rick, you're live on America Armed and Free. Are you there? Rick just went away. And Dan, you're live on America Armed and Free with Charles Heller. Dan, are you there?
Oh, yes.
Go ahead.
Hi. I want to divest a little bit. I just went to the gun show, and I was basically looking for right-wing books. And there's a few out there, and they're kind of expensive. Mm-hmm. And I just wonder, have you guys ever run any recommendations on what authors to trust and how to get them cheap?
I don't consider myself to be of the right wing. I mean, there's a lot of great authors that I trust. First of all, have you read Ayn Rand?
No, I haven't.
You should read Atlas Shrugged, and that'll take you about a month. It's an 1,100 fine-page print book. But everyone in this audience should be familiar with the work of Ayn Rand. At least Atlas Shrugged, preferably The Fountainhead. She wrote a lot of other great things, but her two classical works, her seminal work is Atlas Shrugged. And you really should be familiar with that. There's a number of other ones. You know what I'll do? I'll do a whole program. I'll come up with... One day I mailed something. A fella asked me, what books do you recommend? And I recommended 60 books to him, most of which I have read. And I should do a show. Gordon Groves, if you're listening, email me back my email to you about the 60 books, and I'll do a program on that if you like. Okay?
Okay, what I meant was mostly like, can you trust the IRS, books like that, and... You know, for like $30 a book, it really adds up, and I'm not sure. Well, I mean, that kind of book is what I was talking about.
Dan, freedom isn't free, and it's not cheap either.
Well, I don't mind paying enough, you know.
Well, you know, a great resource is Bookman's. They do trade credit. Bring in the books you've read and trade them in for books you haven't read. I mean, call on the swap shop. You know what? Call in between 10 and noon on the swap shop and say, I'm looking for good conservative books for a reasonable price, and you'll get them more than you know what to do with.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
I'm not trying to promote myself, but there's no reason I shouldn't if it's legitimate. All right?
All right.
You have a great day. All right, back to the phones. Ben, you're live on Liberty Watch. A quick question for me?
Yes.
Yes.
I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
When you have a six-shooter gun,
yes,
with the bullets that have subparticles in them, like almost a powder, can you stop a person at 10 yards?
Well, it depends on if you're talking about something like Glaser Safety Slug. Is that what you're referring to? Or
I'm
talking
about a regular six-shooter.
No. I'm talking about the bullet.
Stole my car in my garage.
Then, what is the brand name? Is it like Snake Shot, or is it a particular brand like MagSafe? What?
It's a Colt.
No. I'm talking about the ammunition, not the gun.
Oh, that I don't know.
Okay, that's important.
It has a plastic cover, and it has maybe 1,000 little subparticles in it.
Chances are that's snake shot, and the answer would be no. At that kind of distance, it would not stop anybody. Chances are, but I'd have to look at the ammunition. Did you have a second question?
My other question was, if I have a 4-inch barrel, if I get a 6-inch barrel, how much more am I likely to pay for a good gun?
They'll probably be about approximately equivalent in price. The question is whether or not you could sell your 4-inch or whether or not you wanted to. I'm frankly of the opinion that if you have a 4-inch, it's not a bad idea to have the exact same gun in 2-inch and 6-inch. One of the cool things you can get is the Dan Wesson series of pistols has interchangeable barrels, and you can just pop the barrel off and make it a 2-inch gun to carry and a 6-inch gun for target and a 4-inch gun for around the house. Most revolvers you can't do that. But
one other question. Of course, I'm clean legally. Is it appropriate to have me registered with the police? And what are the advantages and what are the disadvantages?
Well, first of all, most police departments in Arizona don't have a registration system. The reason for that is because Arizona law makes it illegal to force someone to register a gun. You could do it voluntarily.
So I want to do it.
The disadvantage of that is that every single society that has ever had a terrible catastrophe has always used as a predicate the disarming of its citizens. And the way that you enable disarmament is through registration. Chicago has a registration system, and if people forget to register their gun, they come and take the gun away if they forget. It's a terrible idea. It's none of the government's business who has a gun and what gun they have. And registration is, in my opinion, if you're asking for my opinion, I perceive that you are a horrible idea, and we should not promote it. Ben, I got a bunch of other callers. I'm going to have to go, but I will call you later. And back to the phones. Tom, you're live on America Armed and Free. Quick question.
Yeah, Charles, are you tracking that case in Texas where somebody fired an M16 that misfired? It fired 2 shots on one bullet pull and then jammed, and the federal government has this guy sitting in prison for transport.
His name is Olafson. He's in prison in Wisconsin. Yes, I am aware of it. I will probably do a program on it.
The thing I'd like to know when you finally do your research, because I've just heard peripheral stories, the federal government or the prosecutor basically changed the definition of a machine gun so they could put the sucker in jail.
Right. He also had a not very competent defense, and furthermore, they used ammo with soft primers that they knew would be more likely to replicate the failure. And it is a failure of the gun. It is not a failure of the guy.
Yeah, it's a total sham. But the thing is, whenever things like this happen, like Raymian and Panton, the 2 border agents that just got sprung, they have no recourse because you can't sue the federal government.
No, that's not true at all. You can sue the federal government. People do it all the time.
Yeah, well, how far do they get?
Some of them get millions and millions of dollars. It's just not true. You can't sue them. But I got to go. And Christopher, you're live on America Armed and Free with me.
Yes, seeing how I can't get an AR-15 here in the People's Republic of California, I need to know your opinion on the Ruger Mini 14. I already have one, but I just want to reaffirm.
Well, the Ruger Mini 14 is a very serviceable rifle. It is not as accurate. Folks, a Mini 14, it looks a lot like an M14, like the service-grade M14 rifle of the Korean War era, but it's smaller. It shoots a .223 caliber or 5.56 by 45, which is the modern military cartridge, the same cartridge that our military uses. It's fine. They feed reliably. They're not anywhere near as accurate as other rifles, but they're perfectly serviceable defensive tool, or homeland defense rifle, as we like to call them. You can legally own one of those in California. Is that the point?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know that you can. You should check the Roberti Ruse law. You might find out that that's a banned weapon also. You can own an AR-15 as long as the magazine is fixed. So there's no reason you can't own an AR-15. Now they sell AR-15s where the magazine is fixed into place with a screw, and as long as the magazine doesn't take more than 10, you can legally have it in California. So there are some AR-15s that are California legal.
No fun. Okay.
No, well, I agree with you, but what you want to do is you want to take the tailpipe of all laws and stick them down their own carburetor until they choke on their own gases. Unitizing your kits